I'm back. Do y'all remember when Joe Biden this past year said that once he's elected, nothing will fundamentally change? Never have I heard more true words than that. When Donald Trump won in 2016, liberals started becoming every bit as irrational as many of the anti-Obama Republicans. Y'all remember that, don't you? The obnoxious Tea parties, the conspiracy theories that he was not born in the United States or he's a secret Muslim trying to destroy Western civilization. Any any stereotype that could be made in a negative way, in a negative light, that they they were pretty much throwing out, and they got to the point where they were actually making these racist accusations and conspiracy theories against Donald Trump. I mean, excuse me, against Barack Obama, and that Barack Obama, if anybody said anything, said, well, that's racist. That okay, when the Tea Party people, if they were protesting against Obama on a policy level, they don't like Obamacare, even though they love the Heritage Foundation, who invented Obamacare. But if they didn't like his health care plan, or they didn't like his tax policy, or even if they didn't like abortion, it was that inherently racist? No, that's a policy disagreement. That's okay. I mean, I don't even think it was racist when Tea Party Republicans accused Obama of being a socialist or a communist. He wasn't. I am honestly, if you're a leftist, you should be insulted that they would say that Obama was a leftist when he wasn't. But no, that's not necessarily racist because any Democrat that sits in the White House are going to be called leftists. They're going to be called socialists. They're going to be called communists. No matter how milquetoast and bland and how quasi Republican governing that they are. Michael Moore said one time, Richard Nixon was our last liberal president. How unfortunately bloody true that is. Because, I mean, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, Bill Clinton governed to the right of Richard Nixon. Barack Obama bragged about his policies that he would have been considered a moderate Republican back in the 1980s. Unfortunately, all that is true. So the anti-Obama sentiment within the really obnoxious faction of the Tea Party and the right in general, the racism started to kick in with the birthers, claiming that he was born in Kenya, claiming he was a secret Muslim trying to destroy Western civilization, trying to make him out like he's some sort of a radical black nationalist or something like that. And the thing about Obama being hung on the noose at a Tea Party event. I'm sorry, that's fucking racist. The Obama dressed up as an African witch doctor with a nose, with a bone across his nose. That's fucking racist. And so I can discern between hating him on policy and hating him because he obviously, they obviously saw a black man. And I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying there was a sizable portion of the Tea Party, which that faction of the Tea Party morphed into what is now called the alt-right today. And and the thing about it is, as I said, I can discern. And remember, Trump was a birther when Trump ran for president in 2016, making his speech about people coming across our borders being, drug dealers and murderers and rapists. I suppose some are good people. With anybody how in the world can you discern that and said that's not racist? I mean, and I don't believe in calling people a racist for whatever reason. In fact, I kind of think in some ways calling somebody a racist, the qualifications are a little bit, the bar is a little set too low to call people racist as a general rule. But something like that was obviously racist. And as I said, some of the really obnoxious factions of the Tea Parties, um, they were racist. Well, you know what? The anti-Obama or the Obama derangement syndrome from the right morphed into the Trump derangement syndrome from the fake left. And I'm going to explain what I mean. Now, that I don't want this to be construed as I'm in any way sympathetic to Donald Trump. You got to understand something about me. Donald Trump is a billionaire. That in itself, kind of makes him, kind of a bad man in my view. He's a corporatist through and through. He used fake rhetoric. Some of the fake rhetoric was, I mean, now some of the fake rhetoric he used. I mean, when he opposed TPP and he killed it, I'll give him credit for that. And it's sad that some lefties and some supposed progressives who were opposed to the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would outsource jobs even more out of the country than it is, turned out to be against getting rid of even trying to implement TPP because he was in favor of it. He didn't try this, but 20 years ago, he favored Medicare for all. Good for him for favoring Medicare for all 20 years ago. But I would have been afraid that if he would have tried to go for Medicare for all while he was president in the past 4 years, that some of the progressives who are in favor of Medicare for all will probably turn against Medicare for all just because he's for it. I'm afraid that would have probably happened. After all, you look at what happened with the Republicans. They were all for Obamacare before Obama was for it. Remember Romney care? Huh? Remember? Huh? Anyway, as I said, overall, the policies of Donald Trump in the past 4 years has been disastrous. It's been disastrous, loading up his cabinet with corporatists. And while I would say his foreign policy was better than the average Republican because we didn't start any new wars during the past 4 years, he still did plenty of shit foreign policy wise that I didn't like bullying against Venezuela and ending the peace treaty between the United States and Iran. He was wrong and war criminally wrong for doing this. Appointing John Bolton as your national security advisors. Vile vomit from the Bush-Cheney swamp to appoint that son of a bitch as the NSA advisor. Having Mike Pompeo as Secretary of State. Gene Haskell, the head of the CIA. And even people like Brett Kavanaugh, whose fingerprints was on the language behind the Patriot Act in 2001. That is not draining the swamp. That is intensifying the swamp or maintaining the swamp. So anybody who, if you want to read this as being not as sufficiently critical of Trump as I need to be, here's the thing. Get over it. But here's the thing here. Yes, from the right, it's just what happened with Obama by the Republican right. That was bullshit. But there's also bullshit on mostly the fake left, including some faction of the real left. And there's a history. 2007, 2008, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama battled it out in the primaries. They battled it out, and Obama won the primaries and he won the presidency. And well, I've always thought that Hillary Clinton resented Obama. I think she still resents Obama for being um, president instead of herself. She got herself a place in the administration. Okay, and here's where things started to get to the situation where we're at today. 2015, 2016. She thought she could tiptoe into the nomination. She thought she was going to be the presidential candidate, and she did. And she thought it was going to be an easy time. Bernie Sanders came in and gave her a hard time. And my only problem with Bernie Sanders in the 2016 primaries, he wasn't hard enough on Hillary Clinton. The corporate Democrat, the media and the corporate Democrats, the DNC, all collaborated to make damn sure Bernie Sanders didn't get the nomination. Unfortunately, they succeeded. Donald Trump won. And the corporate Democrats and the media blamed Bernie Sanders. And they fucking blamed Bernie Sanders for the past 4 years. Unfortunately, and I said this before, I think even Bernie Sanders think he played a role in Hillary Clinton being defeated. Senator Sanders, if you somehow stumble across this video on YouTube, I want to let you know that you did not cause Hillary Clinton to be defeated. Hillary Clinton caused Hillary Clinton to be defeated. And to make a victim out of that cow, when she lost, everybody acted like she was a victim. Just like Donald Trump is not a victim when he was getting beaten up by the fake liberals and the progressives and the never Trumper Republicans. And so a lot of the right-wing people that flocked around Trump acted like, oh, he's a victim. Billionaires are not victims. Hillary Clinton was not a victim either. She is worth over $250 million from all the money that she and her husband siphoned from the Clinton Foundation, getting money from other countries. Some of the shit that the Trump people were saying had a grain of truth to it. Just because they said it doesn't make it. This is not going to make it always irrelevant. Hillary Clinton was not a victim. And there she's going on, on Howard Stern, whining. Oh, he hurt me. He hurt me. He hurt me. Bitch, somebody should hurt you, Hillary Clinton. Piece of garbage as she is. But, so here's the thing. Bernie Sanders being defeated, Bernie Sanders causing Hillary Clinton to be defeated was bullshit. Did not happen that way. And 2019, 2020, it was a second portion of 2016. But it wasn't just Bernie Sanders this time. Oh, Bernie Sanders was on the shit list in the primaries. But they went after, to a degree, they went after Elizabeth Warren. The thing about Elizabeth Warren, they also know that she could be manipulated. So they would have reluctantly went with her. But they were kind of troubled by her. But of all the people that they hated with all the normie Democrats, they probably hated the anti-establishment or the left wing. They probably hated Elizabeth Warren the least. And I've lost a lot of respect for her for how she fucked over Bernie Sanders in 2016 and fucked him over again in 2020. In fact, I would have a hard time forgiving her for doing this. But they went after her to a degree, but they really went after Andrew Yang, went after Marianne Williamson, and second to Bernie, they hated Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii. To the point where even a lot of left-wing people have painted Tulsi Gabbard as some right-wing stealth plant in the Democratic Party, associating her with Russia, associating her with Assad of Syria. Which, when it comes to Assad of Syria, no fan of Assad. But you know what? If Assad goes, what comes in afterwards? A motherfucking ISIS government. Of course, John Bolton basically favor the U.S. siding with Al Qaeda. So, Donald Trump did a good thing when he did fire John Bolton. But anyway, they went and fucked over these people in the primaries. And, Barack Obama made a few phone calls and bailed out Joe Biden's ass in this primary season, and it urged Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar and all these folks to drop out, and kept Elizabeth Warren, over there running in Massachusetts to hurt Bernie Sanders during the primaries, and had Beto O'Rourke campaigning for Joe Biden down in Texas, and Congressman Jim Clyburn. And I got some choice words for him in a few minutes. Using him to go and to stop Bernie Sanders down in South Carolina during that Super Tuesday primaries. Well, Bernie Sanders, who looks unstoppable, got fucked over again twice. And I know people are tiring of hearing me say Bernie Sanders was fucked over twice, but he was fucked over twice. And to sit there and to sit there and campaign strongly for Joe Biden the way he did for Hillary Clinton. He did it without even getting serious concessions from Joe Biden. I mean, he's trying to become labor secretary. And if Joe Biden appoints Bernie Sanders as labor secretary, I might start supporting Joe Biden. That might be the only way you'll see me supporting Joe Biden. But here's the thing. It ain't going to happen because Joe Biden is not an FDR Democrat. He is a Bill Clinton Democrat. He is a new Democrat, a DLC protege. So was his former boss, Barack Obama. At the funeral of John Lewis, all these people delivering their testament, their eulogies, and what have you, motherfucking Bill Clinton took a moment to thank Jim Clyburn for actually putting a stop to Bernie Sanders. You know what I got to say about Bill Clinton? And I don't care what good Jim Clyburn did in the past when it came to racial equality. Joe Biden was a segregationist as a senator from Delaware. Bernie Sanders was getting himself arrested trying to integrate some of the neighborhoods in Chicago in the 1960s. And Jim Clyburn is going to go and embrace Joe Biden and act like Bernie Sanders is just a troublemaker. Okay, Bill Clinton, I'm going to say it. Fuck you, Bill Clinton. And Congressman Jim Clyburn, fuck you too for what you did. I was going to vote for Joe Biden as a lesser evil, but I started to think about it, and there's no lesser evil. I mean, Joe Biden has a time repeating record of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, being against busing as a U.S. Senator in the early mid-1970s, during the 80s and in the 90s, favoring just to go and balance the budget. And it's always balancing the budget and paying off the national debts on the back of the poor and the middle class while the wealthy gets away with shit. To go and cut Medicare and to cut Social Security, that sort of thing. Well, and then, defending Clarence Thomas. I don't care about Anita Hill. I just think Clarence Thomas was a shitty choice for the Supreme Court. But the Biden bill, the crime bill that put all the African Americans behind bars, during the years with the three strikes you're out and expanding the federal death penalty to 50 crimes. His murderous vote on the Iraq War in 2002 made him just as much of a son of a bitch as George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. And, the guy is just a piece of shit all the way through. And in some ways, he campaigned further right than Hillary Clinton. The only difference between Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden is, while I do think that Joe Biden is slightly politically further right than Hillary Clinton, he is, on a personal level, probably less hateful. I despise Hillary Clinton. I don't care who fucking knows it. But anyway, it's not just that. The never Trumpers, and I will argue a never Trumper Republican in a lot of ways is worse than a Donald Trump Republican, because never Trumpers hated Donald Trump because they actually thought he was too liberal on key policy issues. It's not, people have the misimpression that never Trumpers are these reasonable conservatives. Nonsense. The never Trumpers are in a lot of ways to the right. You look at John Kasich of Ohio, a union buster, people like that, people like William Crystal, a war hawk, a bloodthirsty murderer, the architect of the Iraq War, got behind Joe Biden. A lot of people from the Bush family got behind Joe Biden. Of course, some of it is a personal feud and everything. And then Biden underperformed in this election. He underperformed because, you got a man who has dementia running, and he wasn't willing to be brave enough to talk about what needs to be done to combat COVID. Medicare for all, a UBI, that sort of thing. Things that can that actually is tangible, that's for the working people to get through this crisis. He wasn't able to be for that. And plus, we got the culture war that's naturally divides the country between red team versus blue team and all of that. So I'm not surprised that Trump was defeated not by a whole lot. I mean, honestly, I kind of figured the race could have gone either way in a lot of ways. But let me go on. The Democrats underperformed. Biden did not do that well as everybody thought he was going to do. Not only that, the Democrats lost seats in the House, and I'm going to make a prediction that the Democrats are going to lose the U.S. House of Representatives in 2022. If they win the special runoff in Georgia in a couple of weeks, it will be very short-lived because the Senate's going to tip back over to the Republicans. And if it remains Republican after January 5th, it will remain Republican in 2022. But you have Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger of Virginia and former U.S. Senator Claire McCaskill, and people like Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia shitting on the AOCs and shitting on the Bernie Sanders, claiming, oh, they're the reason why the Democrats didn't do as well as they should. Now, and you look at Joe Connolly in 2018, the Democratic senator from Indiana at that time. He got his ass defeated, and he did not get his ass defeated by being this social democratic left-wing populist talking about labor rights and Medicare for all. He did it by sounding like a Trump-like, typical Republican at that time. And he got his ass defeated too. And for the record, I was glad that Joe Donnelly got defeated. I was glad that Claire McCaskill got defeated. You didn't hear me stutter. But Joe Biden's cabinet. Let's talk about that cabinet for a second. Kamala Harris, Attorney General from California. While she was sitting there talking about Joe Biden's racist past, I mean, she, and this was during the time when the Bill Clinton formula of being third way was seriously the mainstream, and was an unstoppable force. Whereby their positions got somewhat weakened over the years. Thankfully, didn't get weakened enough. Well, as Attorney General, she is engaged in a lot of racist actions against African Americans. She put a lot of them behind bars to look tough on crime. You got Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, the man who supported the invasion of Iraq and supports going into Iran, and he is a foreign policy neocon. He just happens to be a liberal Democrat otherwise. Neocons can exist in both parties, and if anybody knows anything about what a neoconservative is, you would know that there is a Trotskyite, a Leninist Trotskyite past dating back to the 1930s, and I can go into how they went from being radical Trotskyites in the 1930s to being very much at home in the Republican Party and very much at home with the corporate Democrats, with the Democratic Party to this day. You got Gina Raimondo, the governor of Rhode Island, for Treasury Secretary, another person not particularly friendly toward labor issues and things like that, which is odd because Rhode Island is actually otherwise a very progressive state. You know, you think about it. I mean, you already have Stephen Mnuchin, who basically told corporate America and even companies overseas, come on in, and and enjoy the $4.5 trillion. Worst thing about Trump is allowing Steve Mnuchin to do that, because if there's one reason Trump should have had his ass defeated was that the $4.5 trillion. And yeah, Hillary Clinton would have done the same thing too. The $4.5 trillion to go and to stuff in the pockets of corporate America, in the premise of not laying off workers and laying off the workers anyway. Neera Tanden, the Office of Management Budget Director of OMB. Biden did this to shit on the left because the left hates her, and with justification. She is opposed to Medicare for all. She's opposed to $15 an hour minimum wage. She supports fracking. She is a staunch supporter of the worst of Israeli actions against the Palestinians, and she was all for TPP, the outsourcing, which, as I said earlier, one of the better things that Trump did was to gut out the TPP. And it's funny because it's this contrarianism, sort of like Obamacare. Many Republicans were for Obamacare, but it wasn't called Obamacare. It was drudged up by the Heritage Foundation, and Mitt Romney came in and enacted it into law in Massachusetts. It was the free market solution until a bland Democrat by the name of Obama decided to do this, and then all of a sudden it became socialism on the rise. And then let me tell you, as a socialist, nothing offends me more than forcing people to buy private health insurance. So one of the few things I wish that the Tea Party would have been successful in doing during the Obama years. She favors military action against Iran, and she favors stealing oil from Libya. I mean, he's probably one of the worst picks by Biden so far. And I am being called a right winger because I oppose her. And some people like fucking Andrew Gilliam of Florida, the guy that ran for governor. Now he's claiming that the left wing and the radical left wing of the Democratic Party hates her because she's a strong, confident woman of color. Remember, Tulsi Gabbard is of the same ancestry as Neera Tanden. She's also a strong woman of color. But these same Democrats shit on Tulsi Gabbard who is who was probably the second most left-wing Democrat running in the primaries, to the left of Elizabeth Warren, slightly to the right of Bernie Sanders. But Neera Tanden, oh, she's awesome according to their eyes. And you complain about that, you're called right-winger. The left wing promised to bully Biden and to push him left to make him the next FDR. And then if any of us decided, hey, let's go and start raising a ruckus against Neera Tanden, all of a sudden you're doing the bidding of Donald Trump when you do that. When I was in the Socialist Party USA, it was one thing to call me a right winger because, I don't favor nationalizing every motherfucking aspect of the economy. I favor nationalizing the healthcare system and maybe a few other industries, depending on where they need to be nationalized. Some sectors of the energy sectors of the economy, I would favor nationalization of. But no, I don't favor nationalization of the mom and pop grocery store down the street or what have you. But it's one thing to call me a right winger in the SPUSA when I did favor nationalizing everything. When I when I don't. I think that the social democratic parties in Europe has done a wonderful job providing for the people, or even that I don't think that Israel's the worst country in the world. And to the in the SPUSA, you were considered pariah. You were even considered pariah for saying anything nice about Bernie Sanders before it was all over. But now today, you're getting it from normie Democrats, corporate Democrats, Democrats who claim they're fucking woke, and then you go and challenge them, and then they're calling you a reactionary bigot and saying, wait, you're just no better than Trump. You're loud and obnoxious, and you just want to go and just raise hell and just rival, just go and fuck everything up and be polarizing. You fucking right, I do. You damn right I do. The system do need shaking. People need to get in the faces of the super wealthy. Well, then you got Russia. Sanders tied with Russia. Bernie Sanders is tied with Putin. Jill Stein is tied with Putin. Tulsi Gabbard is tied with Putin. And then throw Donald Trump into the mix. The ultimate centrist mantra that pisses me off. I think that maybe Republicans have been doing this for so long that the normie corporate Democrats decided to get into the act and say, how can I get on a piece of this action? How can I go and do this? Because maybe if we beat up on the left, maybe the people in the middle out there will be like, oh, look at those Democrats. They don't have time for the Bernie Sanders and the OOCs out there. See, if the Democrats are to survive, if they want to survive, they need to listen to the Bernie Sanders. They need to listen to the AOCs. What they don't need to listen to is fucking Joe Manchin or Bill or Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama or Joe Biden or any of those fuckers or Dianne Feinstein or Kamala Harris. They don't need to be listening to media people like Wolf Blitzer. They don't need to listen to Rachel Maddow anymore. As of 4 years ago, she lost her fucking mind. I used to be a fan of Rachel Maddow, but she lost her fucking mind 4 years ago. Russia. And she doesn't talk about what she needs to talk about anymore. She used to do her homework. I mean, she was the mainstream person that was almost as good as what you'll find on Young Turks, and even they are getting a little mainstream these days. She was almost as good as a Jimmy Dore or as a Kyle Kalinske, but now she's just as horrid as Wolf Blitzer of CNN. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you were triggered, well, I'm sorry. That's how things are. Comment anyway. Feel free to share the content on this channel. And as a First Amendment absolutist, if you have a platform and you're passionate about something, utilize that platform. If you're if you don't have a platform and you are passionate about something and want to share it with the world, develop that platform, utilize it. Because we need to remember that we're all the muckrakers of our time. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button and make this channel grow. I got a couple little tricks up my sleeve to make this channel be improved and awesome soon. And until next time, I am American Social Democracy. Peace and Bernie Sanders for president in the year 2024.